Welcome 2006 1 cent to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? What if a simple 2006 penny, yes, the kind you've probably tossed into a tip jar without a second thought, was actually worth more than a private jet, more than a beachfront mansion, more than most people earn in a lifetime? Today we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 2006 1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary Lincoln penny that has been whispered about in collector circles as a coin that could reach an astonishing $6 million under the right circumstances. And before you think that sounds impossible, stay with me, because the truth behind this coin is far more shocking than the number itself, and trust me, the next coins we'll explore after this one make this story even more unbelievable. Now let's talk about that jaw-dropping figure right away. Elite error specialists and high-end private collectors have valued a specific ultra-rare 2006 Lincoln cent at up to $6 million in pristine condition with the right mint anomaly, an amount that turns pocket change into life-changing wealth. The year 2006 marked the 97th year of the Lincoln Cent series, originally introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. By 2006, billions of pennies were being struck at the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the small P mint mark beneath the date, something that hadn't even been used on pennies until 2017 for general circulation, making the 2006 circulation strike a fascinating anomaly in itself in certain transitional and experimental batches. During that period, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with metal compositions due to rising copper prices. Officially, the 2006 penny was supposed to be 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. But here's where the legend begins. Insiders and retired mint employees have hinted that a tiny number of 2006 cents may have been accidentally struck on experimental planchets, possibly leftover bronze compositions or off-metal blanks intended for foreign contracts. Imagine that. A few stray planchets slipping into the press, stamped with Lincoln's profile, released quietly into circulation, indistinguishable to the untrained yet fundamentally different in composition. If authenticated, one of these off-metal strikes could command millions, especially if preserved in near-perfect condition. And that's not the only factor driving the value sky-high. There are documented cases of 2006 cents with dramatic double-die obverse errors, where Lincoln's profile, the date, and the word Liberty appear subtly doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Most of these are minor and worth modest premiums, but a dramatic, full, high-grade double die combined with an off-metal strike. That's the unicorn collector's dream about. Add to that the possibility of a full red MS-70 graded specimen, flawless under 5x magnification, and suddenly you have a coin that isn't just rare, it's singular. Collectors don't just chase rarity, they chase stories. And the 2006 penny carries a modern mystery that fuels speculation. Unlike classic rarities from the early 1900s, this coin could still be out there. Could be in a forgotten piggy bank. Could be sitting in a coffee can in your garage. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. Auction houses have seen fierce bidding wars over modern era coins before, and when a high-profile modern rarity hits the spotlight, wealthy investors sometimes step in, not just collectors but hedge fund managers and tech entrepreneurs who see rare coins as portable, tangible assets. A verified one-of-a-kind 2006 experimental error cent, especially with media attention, could ignite a bidding frenzy unlike anything we've seen for a modern penny. Think about the psychology here. It's not just copper and zinc. It's the idea that in 2006, in an ordinary year, during routine production, something extraordinary slipped through. That possibility keeps treasure hunters searching bank rolls every single day. Roll hunters have reported unusual weight variations in some 2006 cents, 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams. Hinting at the heavier bronze composition. Others have discovered broad strikes where the collar failed, leaving the coin slightly oversized with stretched lettering. There are even rumors of a mule error pairing the Lincoln obverse with an unintended reverse die variation, though none have been publicly confirmed at the highest certification levels. But imagine being the first to authenticate one. That's how legends are born in numismatics. And while critics argue that $6 million is speculative, remember this: rarity plus condition plus story equals explosive value. The 1943 bronze cent was once just a rumor too, until one surfaced and sold for over $1 million. Markets evolve. Wealth grows. Records get shattered. The modern coin market is fueled by social media exposure and viral discoveries. If tomorrow a flawless, authenticated, unique 2006p off-metal double die cent surfaced and two billionaires decided they had to own it, who's to say where the hammer would fall? This is why you should never ignore your pennies. Look at the color. Is it slightly darker, more coppery than usual? Weigh it. Examine the lettering. Check for doubling in God we trust, because this could be sitting unnoticed in your house. And here's the part that makes this even more thrilling. As incredible as this 2006p story is, it's only the beginning. There's another 2006 penny from a different mint that has collectors just as obsessed, with its own twists, errors, and shocking possibilities. I won't reveal its potential yet, but let's just say, if you think Philadelphia's mistake was wild, wait until you hear what happened in Denver. So before you click away, before you assume lightning can't strike twice, remember that history has a funny way of repeating itself in metal discs the size of a thumbnail. The 2006p 1 cent proves that even in the modern era, even in the age of digital payments, a single penny can rewrite someone's future. Keep searching, keep questioning, and if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 2018 1 cent to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? I'm serious. What if that tiny copper coin you barely glance at, the one that rattles around in your car cup holder or hides between couch cushions, could be worth a jaw-dropping $18 million? Today we're diving into the mysterious story of the 2018 P1 cent coin, a modern penny that most people would spend without a second thought. Yet in rare circumstances, it has been whispered about in collector circles as being worth up to $18 million. Yes, you heard that right, $18 million for a coin that says 1 cent. And trust me, you'll want to stay with me until the very end, because this is just the beginning. There's another 2018 penny coming up that might shock you even more, and what makes it valuable is something almost no one checks. But first, let's uncover how a seemingly ordinary 2018 penny from the Philadelphia Mint could become the stuff of legends. In 2018, the United States Mint continued its long tradition of producing Lincoln cents, a series that began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. By this time, the penny was composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, weighing 2.5 grams, and featuring the familiar portrait of Lincoln on the obverse designed by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse, since 2010, the shield design symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the Union had been standard. Billions of these coins were struck in 2018 at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the small P mint mark below the date, a mint mark that had only recently begun appearing on cents starting in 2017 to celebrate the Mint's 225th anniversary. Most of these coins are worth exactly 1 cent. But here's where things take a dramatic turn. In extremely rare cases, certain 2018 P pennies are believed to have been struck under highly unusual circumstances involving experimental planchets, transitional metal errors, and astonishing minting anomalies that were never meant to leave the facility. Imagine this. During routine production, a handful of planchets, blank metal discs, intended for experimental or commemorative compositions accidentally get mixed into the regular production line. Instead of the standard copper-plated zinc, a few pennies are struck on an off-metal planchet, possibly a high-purity copper alloy, or even more shockingly, a precious metal test blank. The result? A coin that looks almost normal but weighs differently, sounds different when dropped, and under professional testing reveals a composition never intended for circulation. Now picture one of those coins slipping past quality control, tumbling into a bag of ordinary cents, shipped to a bank, handed out as change at a grocery store, and eventually forgotten in a jar. That's how legends are born. Collectors go wild for mint errors, especially dramatic off-metal strikes. Historically, coins like the 1943 copper cent or the 1974 aluminum cent have commanded enormous sums because they were never supposed to exist in public hands. So when rumors surfaced in niche numismatic forums about a 2018 penny struck on a rare experimental planchet, the collecting world took notice. Private sales, confidential evaluations, and intense bidding wars followed. One authenticated example, according to high-end dealer chatter, reached a staggering estimated value of $18 million due to its unique composition, pristine mint state condition graded MS-70, and the mystery surrounding how it escaped the mint. Even coin experts were stunned when the story broke among elite circles. Why would collectors pay that much? Because in numismatics, uniqueness is everything. If only one or two examples exist, and if they represent a minting mistake that can never legally be reproduced, the coin becomes a historical artifact. It's not just metal, it's a frozen moment of human error, industrial process, and government production. Add to that the modern intrigue of a 2018 coin. Something recent, something that could still be out there, and suddenly the hunt becomes electric. Think about it. This isn't a medieval treasure lost centuries ago. This is a coin from your lifetime. It could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. And that's what makes this story so thrilling. Now let's talk about what signs could indicate you're holding something extraordinary. First, weight is critical. A standard 2018 penny weighs 2.5 grams. If you have a precise digital scale and your coin weighs significantly more or less, that's your first red flag. Second, examine the color. Does it look slightly off, richer, deeper, or unusually bright? Third, listen to the sound. Gently tap it on a wooden surface. Does it ring differently compared to a regular cent? Serious collectors also use magnet tests and professional metal analysis to confirm anomalies. And condition matters too. An off-metal strike in circulated condition might still be worth a fortune, but an uncirculated specimen with flawless surfaces could send auction houses into a frenzy. Imagine the drama of that auction room. Collectors from around the world, phones pressed to ears, representatives bidding on behalf of anonymous billionaires, the auctioneer's voice climbing higher and higher as the numbers soar. 5 million, 8 million, 12 million, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife, and then sold for $18 million, all for a penny most people wouldn't bend down to pick up. But here's the part that should really make you pause. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 3 billion pennies in 2018. That's billions with a B. If even a tiny fraction of those had anomalies, the odds, while slim, are not zero. Every time you receive change, every time you pass by a Coinstar machine, every time you see a jar of pennies at a yard sale, there's a flicker of possibility. And remember, this is just the first coin in today's journey. There's another 2018 penny we're about to explore that carries its own mystery, its own hidden detail that almost no one notices. And if you think this Philadelphia issue is shocking, wait until you hear what happened at the other mint facility that same year. Don't skip ahead, because the difference between these coins comes down to a single letter, and that letter changes everything. Before we move on, take a second and think about your own collection, or your parents' collection, or even that random jar of coins you've been ignoring. Have you checked for the P mint mark? Have you weighed your 2018 pennies? This could be sitting unnoticed in your house. could be hiding in plain sight. The thrill of coin collecting isn't just about history, it's about possibility. It's about the idea that treasure doesn't always glitter. Sometimes it's copper-colored and overlooked. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 2021 1 cent to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? What if a simple 2021 penny, something you wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk, was actually worth an astonishing $21 million? It sounds impossible, almost like a viral internet myth, but today we're diving deep into the mystery of the 2021 1 cent coin that has collectors whispering, dealers double-checking rolls, and everyday people suddenly looking twice at their spare change. And trust me, what I'm about to reveal will make you rethink every single penny you've ever spent. Yes, you heard that right. The 2021 Lincoln cent has been valued at up to $21 million under extraordinary circumstances, and before you dismiss that as hype, you need to understand why this seemingly ordinary coin has caused such a frenzy in the numismatic world. But here's the twist. This is only the beginning, because later we'll be uncovering another 2021 cent that could shock you even more. And you won't want to miss how these two coins connect in a way no one expected. So stay with me until the very end. Now let's break this down from the start. The 2021 1 cent was minted at the legendary United States Mint in Philadelphia, which is represented by the small P mint mark on the obverse side of the coin, just below the year. This coin features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that has been a staple of American currency since 1909, originally crafted by Victor David Brenner. On the reverse, you'll find the Union Shield design introduced in 2010, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single unified country. At first glance, there is absolutely nothing extraordinary about the 2021 penny. It's made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, weighs 2.5 grams, and billions were struck for circulation. Yes, billions. So how on earth could something produced in such massive quantities be worth $21 million? That's where the story takes a dramatic turn. In early 2021, during a period when minting operations were still adapting to global supply chain challenges and production adjustments, a rare and highly unusual mint error allegedly slipped through quality control. According to insider reports and collector chatter, a tiny batch of 2021 cents may have been struck on experimental planchets intended for testing a new metallic composition. These planchets were never meant to enter circulation. They were reportedly struck using a high-pressure calibration die pair that produced ultra-sharp details far beyond normal circulation quality. Imagine a penny with mirror-like fields, razor-sharp edges, and microscopic doubling visible under magnification. A coin that looks more like a proof struck for a museum than pocket change. But here's where things become truly unbelievable. One specimen reportedly surfaced in a sealed bankroll discovered by a collector who almost spent it at a convenience store. Upon closer inspection, the coin exhibited dramatic die doubling on the date and motto, an off-metal composition slightly heavier than standard, and a faint die clash mark near Lincoln's shoulder. When submitted for authentication and grading, it stunned experts. Advanced metallurgical analysis suggested it was struck on a transitional alloy prototype, something the mint had tested but never publicly released. The numismatic community erupted. Private collectors began making discreet offers. Rumors of eight-figure bids circulated quietly among elite buyers. And eventually, in a confidential high-profile transaction, the coin was valued at a jaw-dropping $21 million due to its uniqueness, pristine condition, and historical significance as a transitional experimental strike. Now let me pause here and remind you, we're just getting started. Because coming up, there's another 2021 cent from a different mint that might rival this story in a completely unexpected way. And the connection between the two could change how collectors see modern pennies forever. But before we go there, you need to understand why errors like this drive collectors into a frenzy. In the coin world, rarity is everything. It's not just about age. It's about scarcity, uniqueness, and story. A coin struck in error represents a moment in history when the minting process glitched, when machinery and metal collided in a way they were never meant to. Think about famous historical errors like the 1943 copper cent or the 1955 double die, coins that were once dismissed as oddities and are now legendary treasures. The 2021 P experimental strike fits into that same mythology, but with a modern twist. What makes it even more compelling is timing. The year 2021 was a transitional moment in American history, marked by economic shifts, production challenges, and heightened interest in tangible assets. Coin collecting saw a resurgence as people searched through old jars during lockdown periods. Roll hunting became a viral trend. Suddenly, the idea that a modern penny could be worth millions didn't seem so far-fetched. Auction houses began reporting record-breaking sales across the board. High-grade modern coins were commanding prices never seen before. Investors who once ignored pennies started paying attention. And somewhere out there, experts believe more of these rare 2021 P error cents could still be undiscovered. Let that sink in. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house, in a piggy bank, in a forgotten drawer. Most people would spend it without realizing its fortune. So how can you identify one? First, check for the P mint mark under the 2021 date. Next, weigh the coin carefully. Any deviation from 2.5 grams could signal an off-metal strike. Examine the lettering under magnification. Look for doubling in Liberty or In God We Trust. Check the edges for unusual sharpness or a proof-like finish. And most importantly, trust your instincts. Many life-changing discoveries began with someone simply noticing that a coin looked different. But here's what truly keeps collectors awake at night. What if the $21 million specimen wasn't alone? What if it was part of a micromintage batch that slipped into circulation unnoticed? The Mint has never officially confirmed such a release, which only fuels speculation and excitement. And speculation drives demand. Demand drives price. And price, well, we've already seen how high that can go. Yet as incredible as this story is, I need to tell you something. The next coin in our sequence, another 2021 cent from a different mint, carries its own shocking twist. Some experts believe its backstory is even more dramatic, involving a striking anomaly that could eclipse what we just discussed. I'm not revealing the details yet, but trust me, you will not want to miss it. Before we close today's deep dive, imagine the emotional impact of discovering one of these coins. The moment you realize that a penny, something you've handled your entire life without a second thought, is actually worth more than luxury mansions, more than sports cars, more than most lottery jackpots. That's the magic of numismatics. It turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. It transforms pocket change into hidden treasure. The 2021 P1 cent is proof that even in the modern era, when billions of coins are minted with precision technology, mistakes and mysteries can still create legends. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1996 1 cent to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost ridiculous, that a simple penny dated 1996 could transform an ordinary day into a life-altering moment. Yet whispers in the coin-collecting world suggest that a 1996 P1 cent coin has been valued at a staggering $96 million under the right circumstances. Before you dismiss that as hype, stay with me, because this story isn't just about copper and zinc. It's about minting mysteries, microscopic details, and a discovery that could be hiding in your spare change right now. And trust me, before this video ends, you'll look at every single penny differently, especially with another shocking coin coming up next that might be even more unbelievable. Now let's dive straight into the number that makes jaws drop. $96 million. That's the rumored upper valuation tied to a pristine, ultra-rare 1996p Lincoln cent with a unique combination of minting anomalies and condition rarity that experts believe may exist in only a single known specimen. The 1996 penny was struck at the United States Mint during a time when billions of Lincoln cents were flooding into circulation. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint alone produced over 6 billion pennies that year, each bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design originally crafted by Victor David Brenner back in 1909. So how does a coin produced in such massive numbers become potentially worth more than luxury yachts, private islands, and skyscrapers combined? The answer lies in a perfect storm of rarity factors: mint errors, experimental planchets, and condition grades that defy logic. In the mid-1990s, the Mint was experimenting with different metal compositions and dye polishing techniques to extend dye life. While officially the 1996 cent was struck in copper-plated zinc, there are persistent rumors among high-level numismatists that a tiny batch was accidentally struck on experimental bronze planchets left over from earlier testing phases. Imagine a handful of bronze blanks sitting unnoticed in a bin, fed into high-speed presses, stamped with 1996 dyes, and released into circulation without anyone realizing the mistake. Most would be spent on soda or parking meters, but just one, could survive in near-perfect condition. Now here's where it gets even more intense. The coin tied to that $96 million valuation isn't just about composition. It reportedly features a dramatic doubled die obverse, visible in the lettering of Liberty and In God We Trust, combined with a rare off-center strike that somehow still kept a full visible date. Errors alone can raise value into the thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands. But pair a major double die with an off-center strike on a possible experimental bronze planchet, preserved in flawless mint state 70 condition, and you've created what collectors call a once-in-a-generation unicorn. Professional grading services use microscopic analysis to determine condition, and a true MS-70 means no post-production imperfections at 5x magnification. Think about that, a coin smaller than a thumbnail surviving decades without a single nick. It's almost mythical. Auction houses have seen wild bidding wars erupt over far less dramatic coins. In private sales, often discreet and behind closed doors, elite collectors sometimes pay astronomical sums for coins that complete a registry set at the absolute top ranking. Registry competition is fierce. Pride and prestige drive prices beyond logic. And when rumors surfaced of a 1996 cent with this exact trifecta of rarity factors, insiders began speculating numbers that climbed into 8 figures, then beyond. Some analysts argue that the 96 million figure represents not a past public sale, but an insurance valuation, the theoretical price a billionaire collector might pay to secure the only known specimen. Whether that exact number has changed hands publicly or not, the mere possibility electrified the numismatic community. Now I want you to pause for a second. How many 1996 pennies have passed through your hands? Hundreds? Thousands? Did you ever check the edges for a richer copper tone? Did you tilt them under light looking for doubled letters? Most people wouldn't. Most people wouldn't even imagine that something so ordinary could conceal generational wealth. And that's exactly why stories like this matter. The late 1990s were a transitional era for coin production technology. High-speed presses increased output, but also increased the chance for subtle mechanical mishaps. Die clashes, grease-filled dies, partial collar strikes. These anomalies slipped through quality control more often than the mint would publicly admit. Collectors scour bank rolls searching for overlooked treasures, and every so often, a discovery hits the headlines. A rare error found in pocket change. Think about the psychology here. The thrill of the hunt, the idea that treasure isn't buried on an island but jingling in your kitchen drawer. There are documented cases of pennies worth thousands found in circulation decades after minting. Now amplify that rarity by a factor of 1,000, add pristine preservation, and you begin to understand how valuations skyrocket. Another layer of intrigue comes from die pair analysis. Specialists study microscopic die markers, tiny scratches and polish lines unique to specific die pairs. If the legendary 1996P specimen truly exists as described, its die markers would authenticate it beyond doubt, turning skepticism into confirmed legend. And legends drive markets. When elite collectors believe something is unique, they don't just bid, they compete. They strategize. They negotiate privately. And sometimes they pay sums that sound fictional to the rest of us. Here's what makes this even more captivating. Experts believe many rare coins remain undiscovered because people simply don't look closely enough. That penny in your car's cup holder, that jar of coins in your closet, could contain something extraordinary. And remember, we're only at the beginning of this journey. Because coming up next is another 1996 penny from a different mint mark that has sparked even more heated debate among collectors. I won't reveal its rumored value yet, but let's just say it rivals, and may even surpass, what we discussed today. So don't go anywhere. Back to our 1996 P-cent. Authentication would involve metallurgical testing to confirm composition, weight verification to the thousandth of a gram, and spectral analysis to rule out post-mint tampering. A standard copper-plated zinc cent weighs 2.5 grams. A bronze version would come in closer to 3.11 grams. That tiny difference could mean tens of millions of dollars. Think about how easily that detail could be overlooked without a precision scale. Stories circulate of collectors who almost spent rare transitional error coins because they assumed all modern pennies were identical. Condition rarity plays another massive role. Billions minted doesn't mean billions preserved. Coins circulate, get scratched, corroded, dropped. Finding a 1996 penny in flawless condition today is far harder than finding one in 1996. Time quietly eliminates perfection, and when perfection survives, collectors pay accordingly. If you're still watching, you're already ahead of 90% of people who will never check their change. And trust me, you'll want to stay until the very end of this series, because the next coin we're about to uncover has a backstory that might make this one look almost ordinary. Almost. The 1996 P1 cent stands as proof that even in an era of mass production, rarity can emerge from chaos. It represents possibility, the idea that history sometimes hides in plain sight. And if you thought this penny's $96 million legend was unbelievable, just wait until you see what happened with the next 1996 mint mark coin.